Tale of two halves. What really can be said? Chelsea travel up to Etihad and come away 2-1 losers. Let's get into it.
And blue is the colour. Essien! Drogba! Lampard! That could be the
championship! Greetings! Welcome back to Couch Critic with me, Dennis P. And you don't know this is another Chelsea match review, but more specifically a tactical synopsis of Chelsea's performance against Man City. Before I get into all that, can you please do me a big favor? Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and if you're a real Batman, you'll hit that bell notification button to keep up with the latest and the newest. Okay, so Chelsea travel up to Etihad Stadium and come away 2-1 losers. Goal scorers N'Golo Kante. Not just an anchor, is he? Kevin De Bruyne off of a massive deflection, and Riyad Mahrez makes it 2-1, Chelsea lose. For this particular match review, I'd like to focus on Kepa's distribution and the role that plays in the bravery and composure of our back four. Then I'd like to go into our midfield. The first time we saw N'Golo Kante, Kovacic, and Jorginho as a trio together, and how that worked, and what didn't work in that respect. But there really is only one place to start, and that is with the technical requirements a squad needs to possess in order to go to Etihad and actually play football. A Pep Guardiola squad will ask three questions of you. The first being, are you composed and resolute enough to sit deep and absorb wave after wave of attack for the entire 90 minutes? The second is, are you composed enough, or moreover, technically gifted enough to withstand a relentless press when you're transitioning from defense to offense? And finally, how good are you in the boxes? Are you clinical in the final third, knowing that you're not going to be having a whole lot of opportunities in order to make an impact there? Can you be clinical when you do get the opportunities? In the first half, I thought Chelsea did a good job of handling Man City's press, and were actually in the ascendancy because they were able to break it on a lot of occasions. There are a number of instances in the first half where Jorginho, Kante, and in particular Kovacic were very good at recognizing pressure, absorbing it, and then also releasing it with either, a quick dribbling decision, getting on the half turn, or, a 1-2 touch pass that would just break the press and get into the second wave of the press. When that happened, there was just acres of space for Chelsea to run into. And as a result, we got on the counter and got upfield very quickly and were threatening it a lot of the times as well. Our ball retention was very good. There was instances in that first half where you thought that City could not get near us, and we're just playing right through them very effortlessly, and that comes down to good technique. I thought our midfield and our wingers were very good at keeping the ball and breaking with pace. The confidence and composure in the squad were sky high in the first 30 minutes. You can tell because we're playing the ball effortlessly, even within our 18-yard box, without any timidness or shyness. We're making the quick decisions and executing them at a high level. But the tricky aspect through all of this is this needs to be maintained over the course of the 90 minutes. So the composure on the ball, the technique, and the quick decisions under duress have to be made and maintained under 90 minutes, because City will continue to come until they force a turnover. And as Chelsea started to tire in the first half, we started to see a few more of those errors start to creep into their game. And as a result, we were down 2-1 at the half, when I felt like we were in control of the match for the most part. So while we are good in possession, good at ball retention, and a decent technical squad, we still aren't at the elite level yet. And I think a lot of that has to do with the stamina within the squad. I think that the midfield in particular, outside of N'Golo Kante, lack the stamina. We start seeing errors creep into their game. In particular, Jorginho in the first half, giving away the ball in crucial areas. More often than not, you see Jorginho on the ball, you don't see those sorts of errors, but as soon as he starts to fatigue, you start seeing them start to creep in his game a little bit more. Now, in my opinion, Kepa is a very good keeper. He's a shot stopper, got excellent reflexes, and was developing. He's young. The aspects of the game that I really do feel he needs to work on is his distribution in particular. And it's certain aspects of his distribution that I feel needs close attention. And it's not the 75-yard pass out to Tammy Abraham to relieve pressure, or the short distribution to the center backs that, gets us playing out from the back. It's the other aspects of his distribution where I want to see marked improvement. The 35 to 40-yard pass to the fullbacks on the flank, where I feel like he needs to be more accurate there and also know when to play that ball. It's the skip pass that I feel like he needs to be more aware of, like the basketball skip pass, where he's not passing it directly to the person next to him, but anticipating the move after that. Basically, kickstarting or jump-starting our breaking of the press by bypassing the obvious pass and making the next more logical pass, and allowing us to break the defense down a little bit more directly and a lot more quickly. I feel like a lot of the times he makes the most obvious pass, whether it be to Zuma and Tomori, and the defense is usually so well positioned that we're not necessarily shifting them quickly enough to actually really break them down. It reared its ugly head yesterday, and I really think that that's one area of his game that he needs to work on in order for us to efficiently break the press. And of course, the keeper's distribution has a knock-on effect on the back four as well. If the distribution is poor, it puts a lot of pressure on the defenders who may not be as comfortable on the ball as we would like. When I speak of the likes of Zuma, Tomori and Azpilicueta, even Emerson to a certain degree, I feel like we now put ourselves in trouble, because once we start making 1 and 2 mistakes, the game starts being a little bit more apprehensive, and we're not necessarily playing as fluidly as we'd like to, as confidently as we'd like to. We're now taking 4, 5, 6 passes before we can make that incisive pass into the midfield or into the forward, and build our attacks from there. So I think that it all starts with the distribution. When Kepa's distribution is poor and he's giving the ball away and putting us under pressure, immediately the reaction of the defense is to be a little bit more safe and timid. And a lot of this comes down to communication within the back four and the goaltender, and who's going to really be the commanding presence back there. And I feel like we lack that right now. A guy that's really confident on the ball, has a stature within that back four, and is a very good communicator as well. Somebody that you can depend on. When you give them the ball, they're not going to give it away, and they'll put the ball in position to another defender where they don't feel that they're under pressure. Just somebody that can relieve any sort of stress that we seem to be exhibiting in the back four right now. I went to the bar to watch the game on the weekend, and it was a fantastic atmosphere. I don't know if you guys have been yet, but if you haven't been to Fox on John, it is a fantastic atmosphere to watch the game. Tons of supporters. I feel like we had about 100 people out or more. And it was just a great game. But I was speaking to a couple of my mates there and trying to figure out what was really wrong with the squad. And Lim mentioned that Christensen, he's like, where is Christensen? Is he injured? And I thought about it, and I was like, this is exactly what this game is calling for right now. As much as I can acknowledge Christensen is a little bit too fragile to be a leader in the back, I do acknowledge the fact that he's composed on the ball and somebody that it will deliver the ball accurately when it's asked of him. And I felt like just the bravery to make the passes into the midfield, even though we're being pressed, was being ignored by Tomori and Zuma. And I felt like somebody like Christensen would have been somebody that would have, taken it upon himself to either step into the midfield and be the quarterback there, or make that incisive pass into the midfield to get us playing football again. And this became even more prevalent when Jorginho was subbed off for Mason Mount in the second half. And Jorginho did not have a good game, I will admit that. One of the few that I've seen where he was just giving away the ball a little bit too much and just wasn't really quite dialed into the game. Once we went from 4-3-3 to 4-2-3-1 with Kovacic and Kante at the base and Mount in the 10, I felt like the problems we had playing out from the back were almost accentuated, because now the free man was now in the 10 position further up the pitch. So when Man City would press us on and sat on Kovacic and Kante, the responsibility was now on Tomori or Zuma to make that line-breaking pass into the number 10 Mount or one of our wingers. That 30 to 40-yard pass was just something they just did not have the confidence in playing. So unfortunately, that movement, center back to fullback infield to our central midfielders, wasn't very effective enough or fast enough to really shift the defense and get us attacking with numbers in the final third. I found too often in the second half where there's a lot of trepidation trying to play it infield to the central midfielders, and as a result, it never really moved Man City in a way that they couldn't just reposition themselves and be in position to snuff out our attacking moves. So we were just a little bit too slow. And the formation change actually took away our numerical advantage in the midfield as well, where we were successful in the first half with Jorginho, Kante, and Kovacic at, initiating our attacking moves from there and enticing Man City to come forward, enticing their press to come onto us and just relieving the pressure with our ingenuity with that midfield three. Now they were able to send less guys forward, sit a little bit further back. So once we break the first line of the press, we had a second line to go through that had an extra body in there. And, we just didn't have the same sort of quality in that particular area to get further up the pitch and really, make an incisive, attacking move to, even get a shot on goal in the second half. But I'm a firm believer you learn more about yourself when you lose more so than when you win. So I have no doubt that Frank's going to see all of this and like basically go back to the drawing board and reconstruct, how we play out from the back, how we build attacks and whatnot when we're confronted with a press that is just as relentless as Man City's was. Don't forget, we're 4 months into Frank's experiment right now. We're 4 months into really understanding what he wants us to do as a football club, and we're seeing signs of brilliance. But we're also seeing a youthfulness that is being introduced into the squad that, we may not have seen before. And with that, you get like this trepidation on the ball. You get like a little bit of insecurity and whatnot. And, as we mature as a squad, as we get more comfortable with what it is that we want to do, those types of things will become less and less. And, our ability to play football will become more of a hallmark of our football going forward. But I do think I'm going to wrap it up there. Chelsea, unfortunate to go down 2-1 in the first half after I thought they were brilliant. Lose 2-1 to Man City. Argument could be made that it should have been 3-1. I don't know, that Raheem Sterling goal, as much as I'm glad it didn't count, that looked like a goal to me. And this VAR thing has just become a bit of a joke. I don't know. I don't even know where to start. I don't want to get into that. This is not why I do these podcasts. I really do like focusing on tactics and whatnot, but this has just become a bit of a sore spot for me this season, just seeing the amount of decisions that you think they're going to get right just go, completely wrong. And, we're seeing one team in particular benefit from this as well, and it's the team that I loathe. But we just move on. We still do what we do as a football club, which is, find ways to win games and bounce back from disappointing losses. And we hope to do that midweek. We got Valencia at the Mestalla Stadium. Midweek, Champions League. 3 teams on 7 points. It's Ajax, Chelsea, and Valencia all on 7 points. So this is a massive game if we hope to continue our quest in the Champions League. We have to win this game or definitely not lose it. So yeah, I'm looking for Chelsea to come out and, assert themselves as they did against Man City. If we can see that same sort of endeavor and drive that we saw in the first half against Man City and maintain that for even 60 to 70, 80 minutes of the game, then I do believe that we can emerge winners in that one. And I think it's imperative now. I know that we haven't really spoken about this, but I think it's imperative that we see Reece James more often than not right now. I think that he's the best back of the club right now, and I think that he needs to start these matches now, right back, and then have Azpilicueta, Emerson, and Alonso, who I haven't seen in quite some time now, duke it out on the left flank to figure out who wants to be the left back for that. But Reece James needs to be starting these games right now. He just has the tenacity, the ball delivery, pace, power to be effective for us, and I really do believe he's going to be a massive player for us now. I've seen enough to that suggests that that's where his trajectory is, and we just need to see him now. So I want to see him against Valencia, and I also want to see if we can actually really make our interplay in the final third actually hurt teams now. I think a lot of the times when we're scoring goals right now, it's off of the counter and not with our build-up play. We're not seeing a lot of our actual movement in the final third hurting teams, and we're not clinical there yet. So I want to see that. I want to see if Chelsea can actually be clinical in the final third and use our build-up play to lead to goals. But you know what to do. Until then, keep the blue flag flying high and up the Chelsea. Peace.